You're listening to Turning a Page on Good Morning Delhi with Sarthak.
And what a wonderful thing you're doing, because what we're trying to do is trying to see if we can seduce you into falling in love with the written word. The fragrance of that new book, when you open it, it wafts in, bringing with it attendant thoughts and ideas. And that's a lovely place to start anything, is it not? And today, of course, we've got the wonderful Abhishek Anicca with us. The Grammar of My Body is his latest book. And, it's actually the pains and the pleasures of every day. It's just such a wonderfully conversationally written book. Abhishek, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Sarthak, for having me.
It's absolutely wonderful, the book. And, as Ruskin Bond once said, writing simply is one of the most difficult things to do. But you seem to have been doing quite okay with that.
Yeah, I think most of the writing that I do is a form of catharsis. It's almost, you live life and then you write about it.
Sure.
And it's also an opportunity for me to reflect. But it's also to do with, just getting my thoughts together.
Sure.
And thinking about, reflecting about the society. And I, as a, disabled person, where do I stand? As a creative person, where do I stand?
Sure.
As a person who thinks, how do people look at me? And of course, this book is shaped by disability, my experiences of disability and chronic illness. And it's almost because most of the projections in the media are often about inspirational, that, of overcoming disability. But I wanted to write something about, living every day with it. Because living every day with it, if people understand what it is to live with a disability and chronic illness, then I think they would empathize in a better way, not just expect some kind of a arc from them.
Of course. And the book, of course, is a series of essays. That's the form of expression that you have used. The one thing, of course, that struck me was how much we take for granted being abled, so to speak. And I found myself actually trying to see how it would be if things I take for granted are even a little bit of them are taken away from me. And that's what the book seems to have achieved, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful thing to say, because I often say that my book is about people realizing their own able-bodied privilege.
Absolutely.
What a simple thing it is to get up, get out of bed, do simple things, everyday things, get out of the house, get out for a walk, and not be stared at, not being considered something different, and not having that expectation from you.
Sure.
That you are a disabled person, you are a chronically ill person. So that is actually one of the things which the book I wanted to do through my writing, is to just allow people to absorb that, and also acknowledge that there are things which are all of these wonderful things which we experience. Even my friends, they go out to travel, they have plans, they want to go drinking, they want to do lots of things.
Of course.
And I have to consider, before doing anything, I have to consider what will my body's response be to that.
Absolutely.
And that is something that it also enables you to look inwards, which is sometimes a beautiful thing, because it makes you realize that why I'm living this life and what is the purpose of doing things.
Sure.
And so that connects to the largest purpose.
There's also this whole thing, as we were talking about, which you so wonderfully call the able body privilege. It's become a bit of a fraught word, has it not? Privilege. I mean, there are both sides of the war zone that is populated by warriors. No.
I think the idea of privilege is not to make things hostile for someone. It's for people to connect, because otherwise there are hardly people. I have met many people across Delhi who hardly meet disabled people.
Sure.
So how would they relate to me? How do they relate to any other disabled person? So privilege, instead of being that thing which divides us, it should be a thing which makes us, give us an incentive to learn.
Yeah.
To learn about other people, other bodies, other things.
The thing also that struck me quite pleasantly was that this book was not grand. It wasn't about, I must overcome a mountain every day. It wasn't also about, it resolutely refuses to pity itself.
Yeah, I think there's no point in pitying myself, and also there's no point in giving someone an arc, that there must be an end of overcoming.
Sure.
Because most people who live with disability or illness, they live it. That the survival is the biggest thing which they do, and they do it every day. They do it well.
Yeah.
And I wanted to celebrate that. I wanted to celebrate it with my journey,
Sure.
as well as with others.
Of course, of course. There's, a wonderful quote by Zizek, which I was actually looking for. He says, "Pain is a merciful thing. If it lasts without interruption, it dulls itself." And I think the present continuous of it all, no, is what you've so wonderfully put, because you're living with it, literally. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a sometimes you can eulogize pain, and you can also glorify it, and but living with it is also like, it's like a journey, sometimes it brings a lot of healing. Pain brings a lot of healing, because you make peace with the other parts of yourself, like finding love or things like that. It makes you more aware of where do you stand in the society, what your body is like, and what are your desires, what are your what do you dream about.
There's also this whole transplanting of sympathy. No, I mean, there's a difference between sympathy and empathy, and sometimes doing nothing is doing a great thing as
Exactly.
well. No? Yeah.
I write that in the book, actually, because I think a lot of sympathy is performance, because people are afraid.
That's beautifully put. Yeah. Sure.
People are afraid. They are afraid of their own guilt of not showing sympathy. They're also they don't know how to react it, because anyone could be disabled at some point in their lives, and that is something that scares them also. Sure. That I can be ill, I can be bedridden at some point of time, but that's how they react. It's a performance.
Yeah.
So I think empathy is. That's why I love unspoken empathy, because it is beautiful.
A wonderful way of expressing it. Actually, I've caught myself doing that. I will be very honest. I've caught myself doing that from time to time. It's a bit of a learning to not do that, which is this. As he said, a lot of sympathy is also performance. We feel obliged, is it not? And there's a wonderful. You've decided to actually use the series of essays to express what you wanted to do. So what was the process? What was the process of writing the book?
A lot of it was just as I lived my life, I wanted to write about it and to put things out there. So a lot of essays were put out earlier through different mediums, through different publications, and I wanted to create a discourse amongst ourselves in disability community of how to, how can we share more about our lives without actually presenting that inspirational story, and how can we just share our stories as they are, because all of us are struggling to live every day, to find love, to find good healthcare, to find our own beautiful stories.
Yes.
And and a lot of it was also because I write a lot of poetry. It was a process of writing poetry, writing prose, and putting it out there, and then shaping it into a book. The book shaped up from there, which was nice. But the process was basically to how to make life more bearable and to talk about it.
Sure. Was it also, is writing for you a solitary process, or are you the one who's a little more gregarious, spreading it around?
It's completely a solitary process. I remember recovering from COVID in a hospital, and when I was better, the first thing which I did was open my phone and write a poem, because it was a natural thing for me to do. It also gives me a lot of hope.
Sure.
Poetry is a beautiful thing. It gives you a lot of hope.
Absolutely.
It points out to the beauty of life.
It
as
does.
I said, and so it gave me a lot of hope to just write that poem in that ward at night, and just to feel those words, that here you are, I am here, I am able to write, I am able to express myself, and that's a beautiful thing.
It's we're living in the world of social media, Abhishek. So it's only proper that we ask you to do a bit of a listicle about what you'd like those who want to write on similar subjects. What they should remember or what they should forget, whichever it is.
I think the first thing they should do is that they can't be hesitant. They have to speak their truth. Speaking your truth is a very empowering act. The second thing they have to do is be vulnerable, for sure, because vulnerability is a beautiful thing. It gives you a lot of strength, a lot of courage to face things. And the third thing they should do is write regularly. Write about it without shame. Share it, because this is your life. Even if you gloss it over with something else, no one is going to know about your life. So it's better to put it out. It's better to share. And it's better to tell your story, because this is your stage. You have social media. You don't even need a medium. You just put yourself out there.
Absolutely. So yeah, those are the points, and it's a good thing to remember, because remembering that you are writing about something and having a little bit of empathy, having a little bit of the lived experience, as it's called, is extremely important. Abhishek, this has been absolutely wonderful, very, very enlightening as well.
Thank you, Sarthak.
Thank you so much for coming in and doing this, and of course for writing a book that triggers thought, which is just such a lovely thing in this world, is it not?
Yes.
Abhishek Anicca, the writer of The Grammar of My Body, that's the book that we're talking about on Turning a page. It's out there for you to see. If you want to buy, please go ahead. If you want to think about it a little as well, that's also a good thing, because triggering thought, first steps, tentative steps to action, which is a lovely thing. What we'll do is take a short little break and come right back. Of course, if you want to get in touch, Abhishek is on Instagram as Abhishek Anicca, Anicca. So yeah, go ahead, ask, appreciate, validate, whatever it is that you want to do, because validation extremely important for an artist. So please go ahead while we take a short little break right here on 94.3 Radio 1.